Hello everyone, this is Rishabh and you are watching Company360.in. Today's topic is FSSAI New Pre-Packaged Food Products and Labeling Regulations. The FSSAI notified the Food Safety and Standards Labeling and Display Regulations 2020 on November 17, 2020. The regulations have notified a change in the display of nutritional information and calculation of nutrients for pre-packaged products. The packaged food companies have approached the Food Safety Authority of India (FSSAI) and requested that food items like cookies, confectionaries, juices to be kept out of the front of pack labeling regulations as requested by the companies. The food companies have alleged that packaged food items based on their fat, sugar, and salt content as proposed in Traffic Labeling Regulations 2019 should be delinked from the new FSSAI Labeling Regulations 2020. Background. Currently, most of the packaged food companies print nutritional details of the contents, including their recommended daily values, at the back of the package. Changes introduced. The legislation has mandated packaged food companies to label high fat, sugar, and salt contents in the front of the package itself. The food labels will also declare per serve percentage contributions to RDA, recommended dietary allowance, on the front of the pack. This can be explained through a comparison drawing considering the various products. Aim of the new legislation: to manage the recommended dietary allowance of the products for the consumers. The RDA is ceiling on the amount of fat, sugar, sodium component in the product to maintain a healthy life. The new regulation has under Regulation 3B has prescribed the limits of the nutrients, whereby the definite limits act a restraint on the companies to maintain the product as healthy. The display of all salt, sugar, and fat is the new component given by Regulation 3A. The display of sodium and cholesterol, which was only claimed in the old regulation of 2011, has been mandatory for the companies. The display of dietary fiber has been made compulsory. The regulation has been defined in the following slides. Regulation 3A. The new regulation has emphasized the division of information into sugar means all monosaccharides like glucose, fructose, etc., and disaccharides maltose, sucrose, lactose, etc. Added sugar means monosaccharides and disaccharides added to foods and beverages. Fat means total lipids including saturated fat, monosaturated fat, polysaturated fat, and trans fat. Saturated fats means fatty acids without double bonds. Monosaturated fats means fatty acid with one cis double bond. Polysaturated fats means fatty acids with cis-cis-methylene interrupted double bonds. Trans fats mean all the geometrical isomers of monosaturated and polysaturated fatty acids having non-conjugated interrupted by at least one methylene group carbon-carbon double bonds in the trans configuration. Dietary fiber not lower than 3 means carbohydrate polymers with a degree of polymerization DP not lower than 3, which are not hydrolyzed by the endogenous enzymes in the small intestine of humans, and the same consists of one or more edible carbohydrate polymers naturally occurring in the food as consumed. Carbohydrate polymers which have been obtained from food raw material by physical, enzymatic, or chemical means. Synthetic carbohydrate polymers. Nutrients. Regulation 3B. Every product shall display the nutritional information for 100 gram or 100 milliliter or per single consumption pack of the product and per serve percentage distribution to recommended dietary allowance, which is calculated on the basis of 200 kcal energy as 67 grams of total fat, 22 grams of saturated fat, 2 grams of trans fat, 50 grams of added sugar, 2000 milligrams of sodium, 5 grams of salt requirement for average adult per day. Steps taken by renowned FMCG companies. The new amendment makes it mandatory for the companies to display requirements which were not present in the old nutritional information in order and fat, fatty acid, trans fat, polysaturated fat, and all other types of fat and cholesterol. 1. Product 1. Energy. Old regulation was 523 kcal, new regulation is 462 kcal. Total carbohydrates. Old regulations 29 grams, new regulation 42.8 kcal. Prescribed limit is 50 grams. Sugar. Old regulation was 14 gram, new regulations is 8.08 grams. Total fat. Old regulation was 39 grams, new regulations is 28.41 grams. Prescribed limit is 67 grams. New regulations for saturated fat is 12.58 grams. New regulations for monosaturated fat is 3.19. New regulation for fatty acids is 8.82. Polyunsaturated fatty acids new regulation is 0 grams. Trans fatty acids prescribed limit is 2 grams. Dietary fiber new regulation is 8.86 grams. Proteins old regulation was 14 grams, the new regulations is 8.86 grams. Sodium's old regulations was 555 milligrams, the new regulations is 671 milligrams, the prescribed limit is 2000 milligrams. Cholesterol's new regulation is 0 milligrams. 2. Product 2. The product 2 has classified nutritional information and showcased the nutrients information in per serving form and also to include the percentage of per serving in it, which is an essential requirement according to the new regulation. Energy. Old regulation was 402 kcal, new regulations is 427 kcal. Proteins old regulations was 9.2 grams, the new regulation is 8 grams. Carbohydrates old regulations was 58.9 grams, the new regulation is 63.5 grams, the prescribed limit is 50 grams. Total sugar is 1.2 grams. Total fats old regulation was 14.4 grams, the new regulation is 15.7 grams, the prescribed limit is 67 grams. The saturated fats new regulation is 6.8 grams, the prescribed limit is 22 grams. Trans fats new regulation is 0.13 grams. Sodium's new regulation is 1172.3 milligrams, the prescribed limit is 2000 milligrams. Calcium's old regulations was 160 milligrams. Potassium's old regulations was 342 milligrams. Conclusion. The regulations providing for mandatory display of details of sugar content and salt content on food packaging has been raised as a concern by some packaged food companies. However, a detailed display of such ingredients will aid consumers in taking an informed decision. Want to get similar services? Company360.in provides you with all the necessities required for these procedures for a very reasonable price. Thanks. If you still have some questions, feel free to put them down in the comments section. You can find us at www.company360.in or email us at info@company360.in or call us at 964-334-0938.